welcome in to the Rob and Kel Show. I am Rob Sanders. I will be flying solo tonight. Jackpot is he's got something that he's doing. He's just taking the evening off. Don't worry, he's not sick. He's not gonna die. Everything's fine. We will talk a little bit about disappointments this evening. Right now, I'm looking at a disappointment, and that would be the once mighty Clemson Tigers, who started the season like 21-2 or some nonsense, currently getting their ass handed to them on the road at Wake Forest, losing by 11 with about a minute and a half to go. This is a Clemson team that had played really well, but now they're playing like dog shit. Speaking of dog shit, there are several other programs that are disappointments this year, including the Kentucky Wildcats. As I see Big Barney Ross there last night, they lost at home to Georgia for the first time since 2009. What a mess. What a mess. Anyway, with that, we will talk a little bit about your favorite disappointments tonight. If you want to put one in the chat here, we'll be happy to oblige that for you. Clemson trying to make a late run here. They're now down 8 with a minute and 3 seconds to go. So if you'd like to join, then have at it. The Florida Gators last night beat up on South Carolina. They beat them by 48 in Columbia, but by 16 at the O'Connell Center down in Gainesville. I don't know what the hell's happening there. They did not cover the spread. They were 22.5-point favorites. Yeah, it ended up not working out well for them. There are also disappointments when it comes to football teams. Of course, South Carolina had a disappointing football season this year. Clemson, in my opinion, had a disappointing football season this year. If you want to vent that out this evening, we could talk about your disappointments right here on the Rob and Kale Show. The show's already a disappointment because we don't have the dynamic duo of myself and Carolina Jackpot here. So that means this show is a disappointment. When we do the show and we call the Rob and Kale Show, if one of us isn't here, then that doesn't work either. So there's that. Anyway, Clemson, by the way, is wearing the I'm all about the regalia uniforms. I think they're great, but I also think that there comes a time when, man, this looks like they don't look good. I don't like the regalia with the orange numbers on them. It just looks silly. Octavian says they mouth pumped South Carolina. Yeah, but it wasn't like the most outstanding thing ever. So let's slow our roll a little bit here. Anyway, if you want to talk about your favorite or the disappointment, your most disappointing season, we'll take those calls this evening. There are other things we can get into as well. I've got a laundry list of stuff here, including should the Ole Miss coach get suspended for his tampering? I'm reading about maybe this is going to happen. Some tampering stuff, of course, happened with Farrelly, the linebacker that went to Cal, but then came down and was at Clemson, rented an apartment, got a car, all of this good stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else. And that's fine. I don't have any issues with that. The problem, though, is that when it comes down to it, you have the issues with the tampering, and should he be suspended some games for that? Talk about that too. Robert says he went to Georgia's baseball game today. Yes, baseball season is upon us, sir. I think Clemson played today, if I remember correctly. It's kind of hard keeping up with all the midseason stuff. In addition to trying to follow along with all of the recruiting and everything else, it's pretty hard. I ain't gonna lie to you. So, user KI9 says, Rob, although you're a Clemson fan, this show will never disappoint, even if you're solo. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. There are some people that say some hideous things about me, including the people who still text message me after some drunk idiot named CH, those are his initials, put my phone number out for everyone to call, where I still get calls and texts every now and then, basically implying that I like to fornicate with goats. I appreciate those calls. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I know that you just want attention. and that's fine. I can handle that. Anyway, if you'd like to join the show, I'm putting the link over here right now. If you want to talk about your favorite disappointment, mine right now is this Clemson basketball team losing to a 13-12 Wake Forest squad. 13 and freaking 12. That's just disappointing. Absolutely disappointing. Wake Forest 13-12, 4-8 in conference play. They got a bunch of broccoli-haired players on their roster, and they're hammering Clemson. It's just not even close. Selection Sunday is not far away. If you want to talk about your basketball team, have at it. We can get into that. If you're a Gamecock fan, we should be talking about who's going to replace Lamont Paris. And that's the only thing you should be talking about. I know over on the Big Spur, John Whittle, who does radio with me in the fall, he had something about, they're going to retain this guy. If you retain Lamont Paris, you're okay with losing. You're like somebody that gets hit in the face once and goes back to get hit in the face again. That's pretty much the way that it is. I don't have any sympathy for folks like that. But it should be, hey, what are we going to do about Lamont Paris? So there you go. Big Barney Ross says Kentucky baseball drops home opener to Morehead State. First basketball, now baseball. Break out the Wellers. Yes, there's that too. I think we should interview the K-State coach. Yeah, the guy who basically said point blank, hey, I don't like the way you guys are playing, and brought out his team in the media. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. They fired him for that. Now, it makes you wonder if there was more things going on behind the scenes. Maybe he had pissed in somebody's cornflakes as far as the administration goes. But why not? I mean, these guys are – I know remember when it used to be back in the good old days when it was like, oh, now they're just children. They're 18, 19-year-old young men, and we should give them some leeway. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to give you leeway when the starting point guard for the worst SEC school is making like $1.2 million a year. If you're getting paid that kind of money and you're over the age of 18, I should be able to call you an asshole, and you should be able to take it. You absolutely should be able to take it. And by the way, these one other little thing that we can get into tonight, if these guys are making this much money to go and play college basketball, why in the blue hell are the universities giving them scholarships? That scholarship should be deducted from their NIL money. You should pay for your tuition. You should pay for your books. You have $1.2 million and you play shitty basketball anyway. You should be charged double. Once for the tuition and one more time because the student body has to come watch your ass suck. They should charge some of these guys twice. They really, really should. It is that bad. Anyway, sorry to rant about that, but I just find that absolutely silly. User KI says, Rob, if it wasn't for losing, what we would have to look forward to? Well, look, I'm upset with this Clemson team. They're losing 84-77 to Wake Forest here. A team that hasn't been very good, but I still think there's hope for them. They are a very deep team. Wake Forest just shot really good from the 3-point line tonight, and that's part of it. So there's that. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, Carolina Jackpot is not joining us this evening. He will be back with us on Sunday. He'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. So there you go. Carolina Jackpot joins us on Sunday. All right, if you want to join us and talk about any of the stuff that I have gone over today, feel free to have at it. We would love to chat with you about that. Also, we don't talk a lot about the fights, but a supposed big fight is coming up. Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, two lady fighters. Is that the term? I can call them lady fighters. Is that okay? They would have been I don't know. Let me ask my daughter. If they're lady fighters, is that bad? Or should I just call them fighters? We'll just call them fighters. Ronda Rousey would break my arm in a nanosecond, by the way. That would happen. Anyway. So we have that, and they're going to fight in May. Ronda Rousey's 39. Gina Carano is 44. At one point, they were like the top of the heap as far as fighters. But now they're going to fight each other again. Big Bonnie Ross says, I think every student should get an opportunity to try out, and if they make it, free tuition. If they survive, free books. If they are crippled after hit drills, they get free parking. Yeah, because that parking pass is important there, Big Bonnie Ross. Basically the guys, yeah, very good, Spank. Yeah, it's a mess. Anyway, if you would like to join the show, have at it. We could talk about that fight coming up. Are you going to watch that? Dana White, the president of the UFC, has already called it bullshit. I just remember Ronda Rousey getting her teeth kicked in her last fight. Oh, no, she lost to, I can't remember who she lost to. That woman literally kicked her face in. And she came back and then fought for the title in the next fight and lost that one too. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Anyway, we can get into that. All kinds of things we can talk about this evening here on the Rob and Kale show without Kale. One other little note here. South Carolina may not have a spring game. Do you care? I mean, I like the idea of going to the spring game. I think it's a way for fans to get out and go and like hang out and enjoy some football in the spring. Maybe see some of your guys play. You're not really going to get much out of it as far as, like scouting for the next season. But in the end, it's a tradition that is now gone. This season, it's gone because South Carolina's getting some stuff done down at Billy Bryce, taking in things and making rich folks seats, the seats that none of us will ever see, those big luxury boxes that they'll put them in, and it's like $8,000 just to hold one ticket. Yeah, that's how much it costs. Yeah. We'll never see those. Just saying. But that's why we're not getting a spring game. Brandon says he doesn't care. In the past, we have lost some key players for the year with injury in the spring game. Yeah. Look, my idea for the spring game for the longest time has been make it a regular season game. Wait, what? Yeah. Bring down a team like Presbyterian or Benedict or whatever. You could pick out one of those teams, have them come and play an actual game, sell tickets, give the money to local charities. They can do that. Pay for their own refs, the whole 9 yards. The games aren't going to be close, but at least you'll have a game. And set it up where it's like, look, we're going to run our 1s and 2s for like 3 or 4 series. After that, it's going to be a JV game. All the guys that really never got a chance, guys like the Comrade, who was like the 4th string quarterback, he would have been the star of the JV team in the 4th quarter against Benedict. He'd have been great. I'm just saying, stuff like that would be cool. You could use it as a benefit for local charities, or you can be, hey, we're going to fund our NIL money with the tickets. Either way. Paul says, I like the idea of having an opportunity for fans who can't afford a ticket to come and be in the stadium. It's getting to a point now where you can't afford to go. I mean, seriously. Spank says they'll want to play two-hand touch. Yeah, that's fine. But look, put it like this. If you play a game and it's an actual game, I'm not saying it should count in the rankings or whatever, but do you want to go into at the end of spring practice and say, hey, we're South Carolina, we played Benedict, or we're Clemson and we played Furman, whatever, and we only beat them by like 10 points. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. But the smaller schools, they get some money to come down. That's why I say Benedict. I mean, shit, they don't even have to have hotels or anything. Just wake your ass up and come down to Billy Bryce. It's not that far from you. Just saying. They should figure out something like that. The thing I don't like about it is that a lot of these coaches that think that everything that they do has to be like secrecy. Like Muschamp was like that. Like we've got people guarding the practice field and shit like that. Yeah, you don't need that in your life. You don't need that in your life at all. So anyway, if you want to talk about any of that, have at it. We'll open up the show here. If you want to talk about how your team is a disappointment or your most disappointing season, look, the Clemson basketball team last year that had all those big guys and they had the guards and the deep backcourt and all that, they go and lose to McNeese. I know where McNeese is. I mean, we know about their coach. He was the cheating coach at LSU, who's now the cheating coach at North Carolina State. Shout out to the cheating coach at North Carolina State for smacking around North Carolina. Remember, a North Carolina loss is a win for America. That's the most patriotic thing ever when North Carolina loses, especially on the basketball court. When they lose, unless Duke beats them. Clement's son says, Uncle Lou has Benedict ever since I've known him. Well, okay. Don't be stirring up Uncle Lou. I don't need him calling up here and yelling at me. Jesus Christ. I don't need that in my life. He gets all mad and gets all worked up. I don't even know how to act. So, yeah. There you go. All right. If you want to join the show, please have at it. Would love to have you here. I'll put the link out one more time. Most disappointing ever. Do you care about the spring game? Do you care if it goes away? Yeah. I mean, there's that too. All right. If you'd like to join the show, here's the link. I'll put it out there one more time. I haven't done a show by myself in a while. I had such a flow when I did my show on Fox Sports Radio because I knew I had the clock in my head and I knew the first 18 minutes would be just like a monologue setting everything up. And then you'd have a 3-minute break. And then either if I did a good job on my monologue and I got people to engage, then that was great. If not, then I was a shithead and I had to do something else. So there you go. Carson B. Wilkes has a good comment. I think Clemson and South Carolina should scrimmage as a spring game this year. Yeah. Now, see, the thing with that, though, I agree with you on that. And we're talking about it from a fan perspective. But if I'm a coach, right, do I want all of that hatred coming back and getting me? You know what I'm saying? Do you really want that? So, and what I mean by that is people getting worked up, maybe getting suspensions. Let's say that we were able to shake a magic wand and make a scrimmage like that, but it's sanctioned by the NCAA and some Clemson player, I don't know, Brown, decides to slap the shit out of somebody on a play. Typical football play there, but he slaps the shit out of somebody and gets suspended for the first half of the LSU game. You end up screwing over your season before it even starts, not having your best linebacker out there. So, yeah.
Don't recruit thugs.
He's not a thug, dear. My wife thinks Sam Brown's a thug. He's not a thug.
No. If you're talking about people going to be out there slapping people around.
It's football. You slap people around a little bit. That helps. Gets the blood flowing. Big Barney Ross says, see which team can build a sandcastle on the 40-yard line. That would be good. Nick says, do you think Dabo is on the hot seat this season? I don't think that the university wants to fire Dabo Swinney, but I think Dabo Swinney is smart enough that if he has a season where he goes and pulls a beamer and goes 4-8, then he might say, you know what? I'm just going to retire. I don't have time for all that. Speaking of coaches on the hot seat, I've got the new hot seat rankings. Hold on a second here. Let me pull these up. Mm-hmm. All right, so here's what we got for the coaches that are on the hot seat. Let's see here. There's a website that has a lot of these, and they bring them up. Number one on the list is Mike Norvell at Florida State. They should have fired him, in October. Guy's terrible. Number two is Dave Aranda at Baylor. Okay. Mike Loxley at Maryland. Yeah, his program's a shithole. You've seen the stuff that's happened with them where, the inmates are running the asylum. Bitching about, hey, I got more money. Why do I have to block for him? Blah, blah, blah. Shane Beamer's at number 4. I completely agree with you on that. Bye-bye, sweet girl, Scarlett. Luke Fickle's at number 5. Derek Mason's at number 6. Bill Belichick's at 7. Scotty Walden at UTEP is 8. 9 is Jay Salvell at Wyoming. Lincoln Riley's at number 11. That's interesting. At Southern Cal. Bill O'Brien at Boston College. Yeah. Looking down at some of these lists. Dave Doran is at 18. Maybe they're tired of his shit up there. Sonny Cumbie at Louisiana Tech is at 17. Yeah, there's the top 20. So there's that. I think Dabo would retire. I really do. And as far as Shane Beamer goes, I think he knows if he doesn't have a bowl season this year, and you know what? They may fire him if they go 6-6. You know what I'm saying? I know that the schedule is brutal. I know the schedule is brutal. But in the end, it's what you sign up for. You don't sign up to go and play 12 games against shitters. So there's that. Chris says, I don't know if FSU can afford that buyout. Yeah, might be right. They gave him that huge buyout and then went from there. Nick says a midseason retirement like Spurrier. I don't think it's going to be like Spurrier. Spurrier was just like, I don't want to listen to me anymore. Man, got time to get the hell out of here. Go get Jerry. Well, they're going to put her name on the football building, but get Jerry. We got to get the hell out of here. It's basically what he did. All right. Link is over there if you want to join the show. How about it? Is your coach on the hot seat? No, Baylor man's ready to get rid of Dave Aranda. That's true. Carson says, and this is a fair take here. I think South Carolina goes 10-2. I'm delusional, but I think we can do it. Well, look, for giggles here, let's pull up the South Carolina football schedule real quick. Let's see here. All right, so here's their schedule. To get 10 wins, how crazy does it have to be? Now, let's bear in mind who won the national title last season. That would be the Indiana Hoosiers, right? So if you go the year before, Indiana went into the playoffs. They had their big run there and got them into the playoffs, and that's great. Okay? But I want to bring this up because if we look at Indiana football year by year, as the site loads for me here, so Indiana went 16-0 last year, 11-2 in 2024. From 2021 to 2023, they won a combined 9 games. 9 games, ladies and gentlemen. They went from 9 wins in 3 years to the playoffs to the national title. Now, is Shane Beamer as good a coach as Kurt Signetti? Absolutely not. Okay? But I'm just saying the turnaround can happen, especially with the transfer portal. You can definitely make your way there, which Indiana has done. And that they won with the idea of, look, you may have blue star prospects, but I'm going to take a bunch of old guys that are probably working in the sawmill tomorrow, but we're going to put those guys on the offensive line. We're going to recruit the right guys, and we're going to play like assholes, which is what they do. And what I mean by play like assholes is that their coach is an asshole. He has no problem telling them, yeah, you're not doing well enough. Get the hell out of here. I don't care what we're paying you in NIL. You can go away. You're not getting the job done. So I bring that up because if we look at South Carolina's schedule, they open with Kent State, which I don't think anybody thinks that's going to be anything but a win. They also have Towson right after that. They go 2-0. Mississippi State is an up-and-coming football team, but they're playing at Billy Bryce. They should win that game. Then South Carolina will head to Tuscaloosa. Look, if we're being the Gamecock optimists here, South Carolina should have won the game last year. They've had 2 straight meetings with Alabama where they didn't look like they were a team that was completely outclassed. Big Barney Ross is right. There's nothing wrong working at a sawmill. You're trying to make me out to be silly. You know what I meant, sir. All right. Kentucky is after that at home. I can't remember the last time. I mean, Kentucky's been – well, I know South Carolina had a run where they lost 5 in a row to Kentucky, but they've kind of taken back over that part of the series. So if we're just looking at it from the Gamecock positive bubble, which is hard for me because of how shitty Shane Beamer is, okay? I'm putting a lot into your offensive coordinator, and I think Clayton White is a very underappreciated defensive coach. He's put out some good defenses that have really saved South Carolina in a couple of different seasons. Carson says, we lost Alabama twice. I think it's our year. Yeah, well, I mean, look, I don't think Alabama doesn't have the same Alabama that they had before where they could cheat. And what I mean by cheat is, hey, we're going to oversign and have all these guys here that we don't have scholarships for, but we're going to stack 5-star talent on top of 5-star talent and not give them the opportunity to go somewhere else and play. So you end up with, remember Alabama's quarterback room the last time that they played Clemson in a national championship game? They had Jalen Hurts, they had Jones, and they had Tua. That was the 3 quarterbacks there. You think one of those guys couldn't have went somewhere else and played? Just saying. So they can't stack talent on top of talent. Now, you do have to play down in Tuscaloosa, where there are meth labs and everything else. You got to be careful for that. But just saying, that's going to be a tough out. The Kentucky game, South Carolina right now, we don't know how good the new Kentucky coach is going to be. We don't know. We know where their roster is right now. It's not nearly as good as South Carolina's is. South Carolina is at home. Then we have South Carolina at Florida. Everybody talking about Summerall and he's cooking and all that. All right, well, by October the 10th, we will know. We will know if he's cooking or not. If he's not cooking, South Carolina may win that game. Then they come home to play Tennessee in October. Tennessee fans are already talking about this is a get-back game, and the last time we played there, it was they had what was the thing that they lied about? Like everybody was fighting in the locker room, and our quarterback got hurt, even though we were down 27 when he got hurt in the fourth quarter. They were sure that he was going to come back, and they cut the grass the wrong way. They didn't have the right. I mean, whatever. Insert your Tennessee nonsense here. Maybe South Carolina can get that game. Oklahoma at Oklahoma. Yeah, sand on the field. Thank you, Nick. That's what it was. They put sand on the field, man. And they had wristbands. Remember that? The wristbands with everybody's thing on them? Yeah. Fuck those guys. Then you have A&M. Remember, you were up 31-0 on A&M at the half last year, and you lost. Maybe you get them at Billy Bryce. I don't know. Then you play at Arkansas. That should be a win. Then Georgia at home for Senior Day. Man, don't know about that one. And then you're going on the road to Clemson. I don't know what Clemson's going to be yet. Maybe your idea of 10-2 has a lot of upsets in it. And one of those upsets could be winning against A&M and winning against Tennessee. I don't know. But you have a brutal stretch there. You can make an argument that, remember last season, I said the Gamecocks wouldn't win a game in October, and everybody laughed at me, and they didn't. So October this year has Kentucky, Florida on the road, Tennessee at home, at Oklahoma. That is a tough October. You could beat yourself out. Then you have to go into November with A&M, Georgia, and Clemson. I mean, that's tough. But the idea of being optimistic, I can understand. Scott says, who's going to be the quarterback at Clemson this year? It's going to be Vizina. I think is how they pronounce his name. Yeah, Christopher Vivuzina. I'm not trying to disrespect the young man, but his name is very hard to pronounce. By the time we get through the middle of the season, I will have it. Also, Drew Denson may get some time, but I worry about Drew Denson. Because if you look at Drew Denson, he looks like he's one of the fastest players on the planet, and I'll give him that. But he's trying to play like Cam Newton, but he's too damn skinny. The guy's got to get on the weight program, eat some pork chops, and do something. He's got to put on like 20 pounds of muscle, because if not, he's going to be like DeAndre Francois from Florida State a couple years ago, where he was like 6'8" and weighed like $165. Yeah, that young man needs to hit the weights. Seriously. At VFall says A&M and UGA maybe hard games for South Carolina. The one against Clemson, can't say that yet. I don't think that any game that Clemson's got on the schedule is going to be a walkthrough this year. There is no one on that Clemson schedule in conference. I mean, they're out of conference games. They'll be fine. I think winning at LSU is going to be hard. I mean, this could be a really shitty Clemson season. Really shitty Clemson season. Beth says, not hard to say DJ Uiagalelei. Yeah, when I went to ACC kickoff, like I had to like sit down because we're interviewing him. And I wanted to make sure when I said, Fox Sports Radio 1400, I'm Rob Sanders, Clemson starting quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. I wanted to make sure that I could say that correctly, because if not, I just look like an idiot. Yeah, it's Chris Denson. Thank you, sir. Anyway, so I had to work on that. And then I work on it, and then he plays a season and ends up looking like shit. I learned his name, and he's terrible. Although he did get activated at the end of the season for the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, there you go. All right, if you want to join the program, here you go. I ran my mouth long enough. Who was on the hot seat? If you want to talk about that. You want to talk about your biggest disappointing team? I mean, I got to go with today it's the Clemson basketball team. They went in the nice regalia uniforms, trimmed in orange, and they got spanked by a 14-12 Wake Forest team. What a mess. What an absolute mess. All right, if you'd like to join the program, have at it. There's the link. I'm looking at some of the scores up here. Virginia leads Georgia Tech 36-7. Dana Stoudemire is going to fucking get fired. That's going to happen. Old cheating ass Calipari has a 110-108 lead over Alabama. About 2 minutes to go in the second overtime. Let's see here. Would Clemson beat Kentucky in basketball? Oh, man. That's like a pillow fight there, sir. Nick says, is Paris the worst Carolina basketball coach of all time? No. Who was the guy that Darren Horn Darren Horn. I used to have to go down and cover some of his press conferences. He didn't like a lot of reporters, especially like my buddy K-Mac, who used to be with Sports Talk SC, would ask him simple questions like, this is a very simple question. Why is it that you're running out into a zone? Or no, why are you playing man when you don't have any on-the-ball players that can stop guys at mid-court? Why not try some zone or something like that? Do you have plans to run any other defensive sets to keep Kentucky from scoring 35 points in 8 minutes? Stuff like that. He would get pissed off. When you're 4-20 in SEC play, you take the beating from the reporters. That's what you do. Just saying. Clemson basketball is always boring and disappointing. Thank you, Clement's son. Yeah. I mean, I wish that I had something that I could say, but I don't.
Can I buy a popcorn?
I don't have anything that I can say that's going to be viable on that front. I really don't think I do. So there's that. Big Money Ross says, I'm not sure we could beat Don Staley's team. Yeah, that's true too. So, all right, if you'd like to join the show, as I said, please have at it. Stop mistreating reporters. Yeah. So, as my internet is bumping here a little bit. Anyway, Jackpot and I will be back at it on Sunday. Don't forget, we're going to be doing the Callaway's Bracket Challenge once again. Bracket Challenge coming up where we put a pool together and we it's $20 to play. Everybody gets a shot. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully you will join that, the Callaway's Bracket Challenge, because they sponsor the show. Will joins the show. Thanks for stopping in, sir. We're talking about biggest disappointments this evening. You got to go with Tennessee basketball. You would think that Rick Barnes would have like a national title by now. I'm just saying. Maybe you would. I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that. I'll have that stuff posted before long. We'll definitely get that moving for you. As we head into spring here. What do we have? Oh, we did the where did it go? So I'm losing track of my notes here. Okay. Yeah, so I know both South Carolina and Clemson played today. Let's see how that worked out for us. South Carolina, I know Georgia won today over USC Upstate, 12-6. NC State beat Winthrop 7-3. Miami over Indiana State, where Larry Bird played. They win 6-2. South Carolina beat up on Gardner-Webb 12-2. So a win there for the Gamecocks. I don't think Clemson played today. I'll be damned. I thought they played today. Maybe I'm just silly. I have to look and see. Yeah, Clemson looked well.
Are you on with yourself tonight?
My wife's saying I'm going on with myself, but I'm interacting with the chat, ma'am. Leave me alone. No, they played really well against Army, but Army's not really that good. No disrespect to the fighting men from West Point, but yeah. So Clemson beat the 49ers 11-1 in 7 innings. Who were the 49ers? Oh, Charlotte. Some alumni from Charlotte's gonna be fucking hitting the old Twitter account at Rob Sounds Good, talking about, hey, we're the 49ers. Yeah. Anyway, Clemson got a grand slam from Jacob Jarrell in the first inning, scoring 10 in the first 3 innings as they win 11-1 over Charlotte in a game that was only 7 innings today. I can make an argument Clemson baseball's been a disappointment. How do you not get out of the regional? I mean, that's a fair assessment there. You've got all the money they're giving Bakich, NIL stuff. I mean, you've got one of the most passionate fan bases in the country. You play in a conference where a lot of baseball matters. You're in a southern state. Why are you not making it to Omaha? You used to have Omaha in your hats. Now you don't anymore. So, yeah, I can make an argument that Clemson baseball has been a disappointment. There's that. Will says Tennessee's won 7 out of 9. They're playing better now as March approaches. Yes, sir. That's one way to look at it, man. We're holding our own. He also says Arkansas 0 baseball natties despite being a top team every year. Yeah, that's true. It's definitely true. So, with that final call for calls, if you want to join, there is the link. Have at it. No one wants to join me this evening. That's fine. Jackpot and I will be back at it on Sunday as we roll into next week. VFL says Tennessee has lost to Kentucky twice when they should have won, so you never know with Tennessee basketball. That's fair. Look, I watched a lot of the Kentucky matchup last night with Georgia, and I mean, it looked like Coach White was out coaching Coach Pope at Rupp Arena. That's the kind of shit that gets you fired. I don't care if you're an alum or not. Big Barney Ross knows what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's some rumbling somewhere about what in the fuck with this guy out there rapping along and everything. Big 6'8" behemoth out there looking like he looks like Greg Ostertag, but like underdeveloped. There's an old school reference from the Utah Jazz. That's what he looks like. Like he wasn't big enough to be Greg Ostertag, but he tried to be Ostertag. There you go. I know Jackpot is he's had something he had to do. He's just taking the evening off. I'm sure he will let you know what it is from the Tater Trip truck at some point this week. All right. So we have had a good show. As always, I appreciate everybody checking us out. I'm on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Feel free to vent there. Big Barney Ross says Pope substituted too often, and I thought Rick Barnes was a good enough coach to not lose a big lead. Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, go and follow my Twitter feed because I like to slap people around over there. It's kind of fun. Kale is on Twitter at Hall_Kale. And as he says, if you want to have a grown-up conversation, feel free. We can have a chat over there. Shout out to the people still texting my phone. I got 2 texts this past week. Okay. Shout out to the people that download the podcast, which you can do. Subscribe on iTunes or whatever people in the Droid use. Whatever you get your podcast, look for Rob and Kale Show. All right, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you later on.